Representative, from the outside, a lot of people look at the legislature and think that Democrats are sidelined down there. That's not your experience.
I've had an amazing time getting to know folks on both sides of the aisle, in the House, in the Senate, making sure we're doing positive things for Texans. So it's been an amazing journey.
But you weren't just getting to know people, you were getting legislation passed. How did you do that as a freshman?
Really understanding the process of how to get a bill passed and get it to the governor's desk, and working with all the different people on all the different committees, on calendars, making sure our bills were ready to be laid out on the floor. So it was a lot of work each and every day.
Well, 11 bills made it to the governor. You focused on mental health, children, foster care. Of the 11 bills that have made it to the governor, what are you most proud of?
A couple of them. One is naming a piece of Highway 67 after Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. Very well deserved. That's sitting on the governor's desk. Another one is to give repayment for student loans to a lot of our mental health professionals. We talked a lot about the need for strong families around Texas, strong students around Texas. So this is a way to get those professionals in some of those counties that don't have anybody to reach out to.
And what's been the reaction of your colleagues?
My colleagues have been very supportive. The majority of them have, on both sides of the aisle. They've been, giving me tidbits of information on how to get things done, and if I need to change a little bit of my approach, they've been very, very welcoming to letting me understand that. But there were some who weren't so happy that I was able to get some bills to the governor's desk, and they gave me little problems, but it was more people who gave me support.
Are these Democrats who gave you problems?
No,
Republicans?
No. Mostly, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
You were serving on the State Board of Education before winning this seat in the legislature. What did you not expect when you went to Austin?
I did not expect for there to be so much division in the beginning. With that speaker's race, it was really tough. You had a lot of people who were being pushed and pulled, and so we weren't able to come together for a while. But once we had that speaker's race done, we were able to focus on the policy and move forward, but it was a tough beginning.
When I think about, I've seen a lot of freshmen over the years go to Austin, and they're proud if they get one or two bills passed. But they're really trying to get their feet wet and make sure they know where the bodies are buried and who to talk to and how to get things done. How did you get so many bills passed though?
I attribute a lot of that to my amazing staff. I had a chief who's worked at the Capitol for a couple of sessions, and he knew everything about all of the processes, a legislative director who was very, very hungry to make sure we had positive change, especially for our children. So we came together, figured out who the key players were on each of those committees, and just got to work.
One of your colleagues called you relentless and said you never gave up. What do you want to look at in the interim?
Definitely seeing how we can get more resources into my district. Along with those bills, we did get a lot of funding. We got $1 million for the Cedar Hill Senior Center. We have a huge headquarters that's coming to the district. So making sure all of that's put in place, making sure the bills that we've passed are actually being implemented with fidelity, and seeing the bills that we need to carry on to figure out for the next legislative session.
On the outside, people looking at Austin say it's very divided down there. People take sides. Did you see that though? I mean, obviously the culture war issues down there and school vouchers, things like that, people are obviously divided over those. But what's it really like down there as a newcomer? The
majority of time, even if you don't agree politically with someone, we have something in common. So I was able to have conversations with everybody. I literally found something I could talk about with everybody. So it's not us just fighting all the time. And I know some members like to make it seem like we're down there just at each other's throats, but we're really working together to get a lot of positive things done. And most of the really, really tough bills, it was bipartisan support that got it over the hill. So we are working together down there.
You won't be a freshman next session, providing you run for re-election, get re-elected. I know you're running for re-election, but do you think you'll have a harder time?
I think the relationships I've built will be sustained for the next session. I've already talked to a couple of my colleagues about things moving on for next session, working together on a couple of bills, especially in human services. So I think the relationships I've built will carry on to the next session and will be successful and be able to pass things once again.
You have a history with public education, and school vouchers is the biggest bill that Republicans got across the line.
Yes.
$1 billion set aside for parents to send their kids to private schools if they want to. Do you think that $1 billion is actually going to be used up over the next 2 years?
I can't predict if that full billion will be used up, but I will say I can predict that it won't be a lot of children leaving public schools to go to private.
You don't think that's going to happen?
No, that hasn't happened in most of the states that have adopted a program like we have, and I don't predict it'll happen here. Along with that $1 billion voucher program, we put $9 billion into public schools, and they'll be able to do some really innovative and creative things to meet the needs of our students. So I know a lot of parents will be very excited about what our public schools will have to offer. So I don't see it. And the cost of our private schools, the voucher won't cover that. It's still a large gap that parents will have to pay. So unless you have an additional $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 to go along with that voucher, it's still not going to be attainable for a lot of our families.
What reaction have you gotten about the public school funding, the $8.5 billion extra that's finally going to public schools?
A lot of our educators are happy. They're grateful that they got some money. It's not enough. We'll have to revisit this conversation again soon. We can't wait 6 years to do this again like we did with the 2019 funding. But it was very good that we were able to get some money to our public schools and take care of some gaps in our funding, but it definitely was not enough.
All the chatter in Austin right now that I'm hearing is that lawmakers might be going back for a special session this summer. What are you expecting?
I haven't heard anything yet. There's talk about redistricting, but we haven't been told that we'll be back in Austin at any point. So just waiting to hear what's going on.
Representative, congratulations to you on a successful, great first term here.
Thank you so much.